Hi guys, welcome to a new video. So today we're going to look at a couple things. We're going to look at this small portulacaria afra lilliput cutting. I think it's about time for its own pot. I'm going to keep this one pretty small, so as you can see I've got an assortment of small pots here. I'm going to decide which one to put it in and then give this one its initial styling, and we'll see what we end up with. And then after we do that, I'm going to give you an update on a cutting that I took off of my large portulacaria afra that I call my big guy, and see how the cutting's doing. I put it, it's probably been 5-6 weeks maybe, if that, and I took a cutting off of it and put it into my propagation station to water propagate it. So we'll head over to the propagation station later and see how it's doing and see if it's ready to be repotted. So first, I think I'll get this out of the pot to see what kind of roots we've got to mess with, and then we'll see what kind of pot we want to put it in. So here we go. Got this old lid here we'll use to catch the soil. We'll squeeze the sides a little bit just to loosen everything up. And hopefully pour it out here. So this is my cutting mix. As you can see, it's got some perlite in there, a little bit of turfus, some coconut coir, just adds a little extra water retention to get the roots to develop. So we've got decent roots on that, so we're in good shape, I think, for the repot. I'm not going to disturb the roots too much. They look pretty healthy, but there's not a whole lot there. I may trim some of the bottom ones off, but I think we'll leave most of them on there, especially because it's winter time here where I'm at in Texas, and they are growing well, but ideally the best time to repot and do a lot of root work on these is in the summer when the temperatures, even nighttime temperatures, are above 75. That's really ideal. My house temperature runs right around 70. Some in where I've got some of these growing in my plant room, the temperature does get a little warmer with the grow lights and everything. It adds a little bit of heat, so they are growing well, but I just still don't like to do a lot of root work in the wintertime. So I think we'll move this old soil aside here. And I think we'll take a few of those off. And for root pruning, I just use a big pair of kitchen scissors. They're really sturdy, and the blades are nice and beefy. So when you're cutting through soil, if it dulls the blades, they're not that big a deal. You can sharpen them easy. I don't like using my good Bonsai pruners here. These are a lot more expensive, and I don't want to dull those up and damage them to where I'm having to sharpen them all the time. So I use kitchen scissors. I do keep them sharp though, just so I don't tear the roots, so they do cut. We'll just clean them up a little bit. I think that'll do it. Get some of this old soil out of here. Okay. All right, so that's the front of the tree there. Let's see what kind of pot we've got. So the first one I've got is this little teacup or sake cup, whatever it is. I'm not even sure where I picked it up, but it's kind of cool looking. It's Asian looking. I drilled a hole in the bottom of it for drainage. So let's see what that looks like. I think that would could be a candidate. So we'll see what the next one looks like. That could also work. It's not bad. Another one here. I think for this tree, this is going to be a little bit too deep. This is more for a cascade or semi-cascade style, so I think we'll not use that one for sure. I've got this one, which I think is a little bit big, unless I was wanting to put some landscaping rocks or something to turn it more into a pinging landscape planting. That would possibly work. But I think for today, I have this other one too here, which wouldn't be bad either. It's just not very deep. Again, it's a little bit big, so I would have to have, I think I need something over there to turn it into more of a pinging, but maybe not. I like the depth on it based on the thickness of the trunk. Let me step back here and take a look at it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Just for fun, just pause the video and leave me a comment on which pot you think I should use. We'll just set these 4 up here. So we'll just call this pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, or the big one, pot 4. Which one do you think I should use? All right, so let's see. Kind of liking that. I just don't like I find that the shallower pots are a little harder to maintain, keep enough soil in them. I do like this one. And, you know, whichever decision I make today, it's not permanent. I mean, you can always repot in the future into a different pot. And if I come across a different pot, you know, in the future, I could always use a different pot. So let's see. This one's just kind of neat because of the design on the pot. I also like this one. So I'm kind of leaning towards one of these two, because I think the one in the back, I think this one back here is just too big. Let's see. Yeah. I think for today, I think this might be the winner. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to go with this one today. Let's clean some of this off. So the first thing, the hole's not too big in the bottom, so I don't need drainage screen, but I'm going to put one in there anyway, just to keep some of the soil from falling out of the bottom. So first, I'll put a little, my mix isn't that coarse anyway, but this is my coarser mix, which we may go ahead and use for the, as you can see, the particle sizes are pretty small. I use akadama and black lava rock. And then I also have some smaller mix, which are the fines from when I sift my soil, which are really small. So I might mix a little bit of that in with it, and I'll probably top dress it with some of those. But I think I'll use the larger particle size for this. I think that'll be fine. So let's get this placed in here. Plant it a little bit deeper just to keep it stable in the pot. I'll plant it a little bit off center. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Add some soil around it. Use the chopstick just to make sure it's seated around the roots. I think I will use some of my smaller particles to fill in. Just use a spoon to put that in since it's so small. Yeah, it's going to stand up, I think. May have to use some small rocks to keep it stable until the roots fill out a little bit more. Add some more small particle soil. Just tamp it in there just to make sure all the roots are covered. Okay, so I think that's a good placement, I think. So that's kind of the front there. I've got this back branch coming off the back, so I'll call this the front. So far it feels pretty stable. It's not going to get disrupted too much because it's inside. It's on the shelf under the grow lights, so don't know if I'll need to use any rocks. And once I water it in, this soil will get heavier too. So why don't I go ahead and water it in. And I've just got some fertilized water in these little squeeze bottles. That's what I use to water my small trees. It's easy to be precise. There you can see the water coming out of the bottom now, so that's good. And plus the water helps pack the soil in a little more, so it keeps the tree nice and stable. All right, so now I think we'll give it a little prune. Not really sure what I'm going to go for on this. It's probably just going to be a nice upright style with a nice dome shape on the top. We'll get rid of this branch pointing right out to the front so we can see the trunk a little better. This one back. Bring this back branch in quite a bit. And I may, yeah, I think I will. I think that back branch is down too low. And I do have these other branches coming out the back side, which I can use as a back branch in the future. So I think we'll get rid of this low one for now. There we go. Yeah, and I like the shape on this, how it's, the main trunk is kind of coming off to the side here. And we've got this branch coming off to that side. So it'll be kind of a triangular dome shape like this. Yeah, I like that. Bring this front one in a little bit more. Take some of these downward leaves off. I've got this downward branch here, if you can see that. But I think I'm going to leave it because it may, because I've got one going up too. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use in the future. I don't know where this branch is going to go. If it'll start drooping down once it gets heavier, this might look kind of cool, drooping down a little bit further. Or if this does droop down, this one growing up would be a better option. So I think I'll leave both of them on there for now. I think we'll get rid of this growth up here close though, so we can see that branch. Yeah, it helps. And like I said, we can see this growth I've got in the back, which helps the depth. So yeah, I think that was a good call, getting rid of this lower back branch. Bring this in a little bit. Bring this one in just a little bit more to give me that angular shape, you know. You can kind of see that, kind of the shape that I'm going for. It's going to be an angle on this side, then down to that side. But I will have, you know, individual pads in here that develop. Let's thin some of this top out because it'll grow back in pretty quick. So that top thinned out. Downward leaf. Just taking a look at it, see if there's any more I want to take off at this stage. I think I might get a little bit out of balance growing out of the back, so I think I'll bring those in a little bit more. Just to keep everything balanced front to back. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a bar branch situation going on here where these are right across from each other, but don't think I want to get rid of that because I don't have anything else to fill in that space. Not yet anyway. This one could, because it's coming out and then I've got a branch coming off this way. So eventually this branch here will grow into that. But until that starts happening, I think I'm going to leave this one for now. And I don't want to get rid of that. I like the way that looks and helps fill in that. That would leave a big void over there to get rid of that. So in the future, this one could take the place of this, but I think for now we're going to leave that one. And I think that's probably going to about do it for that tree today. So I'll give you a quick spin around. There's the front. There's the left side, back, right side, and back to the front. All right, we'll set this aside. And now let's head over to the propagation station and see how that cutting from my big guy is doing. Okay, we'll head over there and see what we've got. So I've got my propagation station up on the top shelf where it gets a lot of heat and some good light. And here's the cutting. Yeah, looks like we've got some good roots in there, so I think we'll go ahead and pot this one up. Okay, we're back at the table. So here's the cutting. And like you saw earlier, we do have some nice roots developed. They're kind of coming out of one side, but I think that's okay. I think we'll go ahead and pot this guy up. And as you can see, it's still pretty flat because it was a horizontal branch that was on the front of the tree. So everything was, I'd pruned the bottom, all the downward facing leaves. So we're left with this flat cutting. But I think we'll get some new shoots coming out of the back, but I do like the way the trunk looks already, so I think this will develop nicely. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to plant this one in one of these small terracotta pots that I use. I order these. They have one drain hole in the center, but I drill that out a little bit bigger, and then I put 2 other holes in it just for wire and extra drainage. Don't always need to use the wire when they're this young, but they're there just in case. So you put some drainage screen over the larger hole just to keep the soil from falling through. I'll use some of my larger particle soil, which is still pretty small, but I'll fill it up to about probably 1/3 of the way, a little less than half on these young cuttings. And because I like to plant these a little deeper than I normally would a normal repot, just to let the extra trunk that's under the soil provide the stability. I just try to spread the roots out into a radial pattern the best I can, just to get them started growing in the right direction. As you can see, they're just a few roots. Just keep them out to the side and then fill the rest up with soil. And if you find that it's still wanting to tip over, you can just put a couple rocks in it or something heavy to hold it up. But I think we might be okay on this one since I planted it a little deeper. Just spread that around. Yeah, I like that. I like where that trunk movement's there. And then, you know, so having the trunk already developed in a nice thick base, and then it tapers up a little bit already. That's the hard part already done. So now all we have to do is develop the top out a little bit, which we'll get there. Give this a good watering. Just water it in good. I always like to keep these a little bit extra moist on these ones that I water propagate, because the roots are used to being in water. So I like to keep them a little bit extra wet, just to so they don't go into shock. We'll just do that. Make sure the water's coming out of the bottom so it's draining well saturated. We'll leave that one there and bring this little guy back up. And I think that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.